Gauff saves U.S. Wawrinka starts farewell season with victory. The defending champions trailed 0-1 after Sebastian Baez had earlier shocked 6th-ranked Taylor Fritz 4-6, 7-5, 6-4, despite the American firing down 23 aces. Fritz suffered a minor ankle roll late in the match, which put him off his power-hitting game, and he was unable to close the gap on Baez, who beat the 28-year-old for the first time in 6 meetings. Gauff and Christian Harrison eventually clinched the tie in the mixed doubles decider, defeating Maria Liuts-Carroll and Guido Andriozzi 6-4, 6-1. Stan Wawrinka launched the final season of his career with a marathon 5-7, 7-6, 7/5, 7-6, 7/5 win over Arthur Rinderknecht to give Switzerland an unassailable 2-0 lead over France. The 40-year-old joined teammate Belinda Bencic as a winner after she began the tie 6-2, 6-4 over Leolia Jean. The Swiss won the mixed doubles for a 3-0 final scoreline. Wawrinka is competing in Perth for the first time, needing to battle for nearly 3.5 hours to defeat an opponent a decade his junior. The 3-time Grand Slam champion sealed victory on his first match point. Also on Saturday, in Sydney, Zhong Asian led China to a 2-1 win over Belgium to begin their tournament. Norway's Casper Ruud stunned Australian number 1 Alex de Minaur 6-3, 6-3, while Aussie women's singles substitute Storm Hunter beat Malene Helgo 6-2, 7-6, 7/3, when Ilna stopped first-choice Maya Joint. Hunter and John Patrick Smith won the doubles over Ulrich Ikeri and Viktor Jurasevich 4-6, 6-1, 10-4 for Australia's 2-1 final scoreline. The tennis court has always been more than painted lines and stretched nets. It is a stage where time itself plays doubles, youth and experience, beginnings and endings, hope and memory. On one remarkable day in the tennis world, 2 stories unfolded side by side. Coco Gauff, carrying the weight of a nation's expectations, and Stan Wawrinka, walking steadily toward the sunset of a legendary career. One saved the present, the other honored the past. Gauff saves the U.S., the weight of tomorrow. Coco Gauff walked onto the court with the quiet confidence of someone far older than her years. Yet behind her calm expression was pressure heavy enough to bend steel. For American tennis, she was no longer just a promise. She was the answer. In a country desperate for a new champion to carry the legacy of Serena and Venus Williams, Gauff was not simply playing a match. She was defending belief. The crowd felt it. Every rally drew gasps. Every point felt like a verdict. When she stumbled, doubts crept in like shadows. Could she handle the moment? Could she carry the hopes of millions who wanted proof that American tennis still belonged at the top? Gauff answered not with words, but with resilience. She chased down impossible balls, turned defense into attack, and played with a maturity that belied her age. When the match tightened and nerves threatened to take control, she leaned into the pressure instead of running from it. That was the moment she truly saved the U.S., not by winning alone, but by showing that the future was safe in her hands. Her victory was more than a scoreline. It was reassurance. It was a message to young players watching from public courts and school gyms across the country. The dream is still alive. American tennis was not fading. It was evolving. Wawrinka's farewell season begins. While Gauff sprinted toward tomorrow, Stan Wawrinka stood firmly in yesterday and today. His first match of what many believed to be his farewell season did not come with fireworks or grand announcements. There was no dramatic speech, no tearful goodbye, just a racket, a baseline, and a man who has spent decades earning his place in tennis history. Wawrinka's career has never been defined by ease. He lived in the era of giants, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, yet carved out his own space with thunderous backhands and fearless shot-making. 3 Grand Slam titles, endless battles, countless scars. When he won his opening match of the season, it felt symbolic. Not a declaration of dominance, but a reminder. He was still here, still capable, still fighting. The crowd's applause carried more than appreciation. It carried gratitude. Gratitude for the memories, the matches, the moments when Wawrinka stood toe-to-toe with the greatest and refused to blink. This victory wasn't about rankings or trophies. It was about dignity. About starting the final chapter the same way he wrote the rest, on his own terms. A sport balanced between past and future. What made this moment special was not just the individual victories, but their timing. Gauff represents acceleration, the speed of modern tennis, the power of youth, the hunger to rewrite history. Wawrinka represents endurance, the patience to survive injuries, setbacks, and the slow march of time. Together, their stories formed a perfect contrast. Tennis, after all, is a sport that never stops moving. As one generation rises, another bows out. Yet the court remains the same, waiting for the next story to be written. For fans, this was a reminder of why tennis endures. It is not only about champions, but about journeys. About watching a teenager grow into a leader. About honoring a veteran who refuses to fade quietly. The meaning of victory. Gauff's carried the weight of expectation. Wawrinka's carried the weight of memory. Both mattered. One inspired belief in the future. The other invited reflection on the past. And in that balance, tennis found its heartbeat. Because every sport needs both. Someone to remind us where we are going. And someone to remind us where we've been. On that day, Coco Gauff saved American tennis from uncertainty, while Stan Wawrinka reminded the world that legends don't dissipate. They echo. And somewhere between a young star's roar and a veteran's steady smile, the game quietly promised it would go on.